Hey everyone, RogueGold here. Welcome back to The Division 2. And today, we've got some Ubisoft news to cover. Or a couple of days ago we did. I've been out of town. This news dropped like the day that I left. But I wanted to still make sure that we covered it because we have been awaiting this very update, this very appointment. And I believe that it is very pertinent towards the continuation and future of The Division, the future of massive entertainment. And it all has to do with Ubisoft's new operational structure. So, we'll get into all of it. If you enjoy these types of videos, you want to stay updated on all things Division as well as everything behind the scenes, then be sure to subscribe. Have to give a major shout out and thank you to all of our channel members. Thank you all so much for your ongoing dedication and contributions to myself, the channel, the work. It's beyond appreciated. But without further ado, let's get straight to it. So, what we're talking about today is the new appointed leader of Ubisoft Creative House 2. If you have no clue what that means, no worries, we've done a lot of videos in this sort of saga, if you will. Ubisoft has been going through a lot of transformation due to their issues with the business over the past 12, 18 months. I'll link a couple of videos down below that have covered this exact topic if you want more detail, more nuance. But the basics of it is that they've separated their different IPs into different creative houses. Those houses are going to work on a more autonomous structure and be responsible for themselves. And while many of them had been getting their different leaders appointed, Creative House 2, where the Division falls under, it had still been a big question mark as to who they were going to bring in to lead this. Well, we now have our answer. There's a lot of different things I want to look at, but let's first switch over to the press release that gave this news. So, as you can see right here, Ubisoft appoints Christoph Hartmann to lead Creative House 2 and its growing portfolio of franchises. Like I said in the intro, this came out a few days ago back on July 1st, but we were absolutely still going to cover this. So let's see what they had to say. Today, Ubisoft announced the appointment of Christoph Hartmann as General Manager of Creative House 2, one of the creative houses at the center of Ubisoft's new operating model. Creative House 2 brings together Ubisoft teams and brands concerted on delivering challenging, competitive, and cooperative battlefield-driven gameplay, including iconic and beloved franchises like Tom Clancy's The Division, Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon, and Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell. This is new information right here with this release, but March of Giants, a forthcoming free-to-play multiplayer online battle arena MOBA game that Ubisoft acquired in December, is also joining Creative House 2. As General Manager, Hartmann will oversee Creative House 2's strategic direction and the long-term development of its portfolio. Now, you may be wondering, who is Christoph Hartmann? What is his background? What are his qualifications? Don't worry, we'll get into a lot of that. I just wanted to go through this press release first. Christoph is exactly the kind of leader we needed for Creative House 2, a passionate gamer with a proven ability to bring out the best in creative teams and build franchises that last, said Yves Guillemot, co-founder and CEO of Ubisoft. His experiences across development and publishing, as well as his management style, give him a rare understanding of what it takes to make great games. I'm confident Christoph will elevate our teams and brands to new heights and deepen their connection with the dedicated players who love these franchises. So here's some important information down here. Hartmann brings more than 2 decades of experience building, scaling, and operating global game organizations across development and publishing. He spent 20 years at Take-Two Interactive, where he held multiple roles and co-founded 2K Games, serving as president of the label until 2017. During that time, he led teams behind major franchises including Borderlands, BioShock, Sid Meier's Civilization, NBA 2K, and XCOM, and supported early releases in the Grand Theft Auto franchise. More recently, he served as vice president of Amazon Games, overseeing all game-related activities. So to close this off, we get a quote from him down here that says, "The talented teams at March of Giants, Massive, Ubisoft Montreal, Ubisoft Paris, and Ubisoft Toronto have always known how to create worlds that players lose themselves in. With Creative House 2, we are giving them the structure, support, and vision to go further to build those kind of intense, unforgettable experiences that remind players why they fell in love with games in the first place. That is what great games have always been about, and that is what we are here to make." Okay, so some interesting first details about this appointment given there via the press release. Before we dive a little bit deeper on Christoph and some of his background, I did want to reflect this quote that was given within a news article that Ubisoft put out at the same time. It's fairly similar to the one that we just read in the press release, but it does go into a little bit different of detail, so I wanted to include it here. And any additional external articles that we look at will be linked down in the description below. But he said some of the strongest memories in games come from overcoming something together, the mission you barely survive, the comeback you did not expect, the moment a team clicks. The talented teams at March of Giants, Massive, Montreal, Paris, and Toronto are creating game worlds filled with those kinds of moments for millions of dedicated players. With Creative House 2, our goal is to respect their passion, listen closely to what they love, and create intense, high-quality experiences that they want to keep coming back to. Okay, so you now know the news. You've seen some of Christoph's quotes here on the appointment. What do we think? Well, I'll say this, without knowing much about this individual before the appointment, I think we could have done far, far worse. For somebody who was at Take-Two Interactive for over 20 years, at least to my knowledge, that is a fairly well-respected publisher within the industry. He co-founded 2K Games, who has had a lot of successes, including Borderlands, which is right in the same genre as The Division. I think when Ubisoft announced that they were going to bring in external hires for these creative houses, a lot of us were worried that they were just going to find people that were either very money driven, that didn't understand games or understand the genres that were in those specific houses. But at least here with Hardman, I think he is going to have a good understanding of what it takes to run these very tactical action-driven titles like The Division, Ghost Recon. Only time will tell, of course, but again, my initial impression is that I think this is a fairly solid pick. I wanted to go a little bit deeper, though, especially in the context of how these creative houses are going to be ran. Again, we covered it much more in prior videos, so go watch those if you have not. But the general idea is that the corporate arm of Ubisoft is going to have much less oversight on the day-to-day decisions made by these creative houses and their games. Essentially, these creative house leaders and the leadership structure within the houses will be allowed to make much more decisions, have much more autonomy, but then because of that, they're also more responsible for their own success, generating their own revenue, and if that success was not to be found, that is then assumedly when corporate would step back in. So in light of that, I think that whichever leader is chosen for whichever of these houses, you would hope that they not only understand the games industry, have respect for it and the individuals working in it, but then they also have to have a business sense, again, if they're going to be leading this creative house and its financial ventures. So I went digging to see if there was any kind of insights into how Christoph runs his businesses in the games industry, what his approach is, what his philosophies are, just to see if that could give us any kind of hint as to what we will see him do within Creative House 2. And I found this one from gamesindustry.biz talking about his time at Amazon Game Studios. Now, some of the context of this is a little bit ironic, but still important for the grand scope of his resume, because for the past many years until he left the position at the beginning of this year, he was one of the top higher-ups at AGS, specifically with a big influence working on New World. New World, if you didn't know, was one of Amazon Game Studios' most prolific titles that they were working on in marketing. I never played it, but from my understanding, it was a fairly well put together, fairly respected MMO, until they more recently announced that content was going to cease production and that the servers will close entirely at the beginning of 2027. So, take from that what you will, but again, during his tenure there, he gave this interview talking about some of his philosophy and how he guides these development teams. And while it did not work out for New World, clearly, I do hope that some of these same practices can indeed work here in Creative House 2, maybe partially because the IPs he's now going to be overseeing are established brands. They're not trying to go out and make a name for themselves. They just need strong, clear leadership and good execution. So here are some of the things that he said. Only ship when you're ready, he tells gamesindustry.biz. For me, that's probably something we should have known better. You don't rush into a territory where you already have clear market leaders. We launched Crucible, which is a different game they were working on, at a time when PUBG and Fortnite were super big. It was not the right decision to go into a market segment that has such big players everyone's always chasing. It's like trying to beat Call of Duty at its peak or trying to do another Grand Theft Auto. So what I like about this quote is his ability to recognize and give awareness to the fact that, yeah, you're not just going to come out with a new title and beat everybody day one. Unless you have something to set yourself apart, then you have to prove why players should play your title over the other thing. I do think when you're shifting back to The Division in the context of The Division 3 specifically, it is interesting timing given what we have seen happen with Destiny in these recent weeks. For a long time, Destiny was the leader in the console-based looter-shooter genre, but now that they're gone, or at least going to be dormant for a long time, that leaves quite the power vacuum. Could The Division 3 fill that gap? I guess we will see. Another thing he said here was one thing people really buy into here is our long-term thinking, because the games industry is known for either rushing things out the door or giving up too early. Telling people they're going to get the time to focus on something, and if we get it right, we're going to double down, is something that resonates with a lot of folks. Now, again, to be clear, he was giving all of these quotes in the context of the Amazon Games studio structure and what was happening back then. We don't know what kind of leash he is on, nor any of the creative houses truly under Ubisoft, but I have to hope that his mindset is still in the same place, and this is exactly the kind of approach that, again, I think is worth taking with the Division franchise. You prove something can work, which we have seen time and time again with the Division 1's launch, with the Division 2, more recently with the 10th anniversary and the start to year 8, how much attention and activity could still surge in this 8-year-old game. If you see that something works, double down. That's what we're seeing right now with the new DLC that's on the way, with crossplay with survivors. And I also really like that he talks about not rushing things out of the door. It was well reported that the Division 2 apparently had a bit of a rushed development cycle. At the time, Ubisoft really wanted to hit that 3-year cadence between the launch of Division 1 and 2. When it comes to the Division 3, you've only got one chance to get this right. Fortunately, this franchise already has a steady income source when it comes to the Division 2, and that income has been growing ever since 2025 and Battle for Brooklyn's release. So if what Ubisoft is saying about these creative houses are true and they get to make their own financial decisions, then in theory, there should be no major rush to really push the Division 3 out the door. Let the teams cook, let them do what they know they need to do, analyze the market that you're heading into to ensure that it has the best chances to succeed as possible, and at the end of the day, kick some ass. I think that's what we all want from the Division 3. So, there you go, everybody. That is the news for today. We now know who's going to lead Creative House 2, which is where the Division falls under, and that is Christoph Hartmann. I would be very curious to hear all of your thoughts on this announcement. What do you think about Christoph's background at Take-Two, at Amazon Games? If we've got any New World players out there, I would love to hear your perspective, given that it seems as though Christoph had big involvement in the development of that game. And yeah, just in general, now that we're a few months down the line, what do you think about this creative house structure overall? Do you think it could yield good things for the Division? Only time will tell, but again, I am optimistic for now, given this news, so we will see where we go from here. That's going to do it for me on this one, though. Thank you all so much for coming by and watching. I will catch you back soon, but until then, RogueGold out. Oh! We just got a Ravenous! Haha! I might not be friendly. Let's go.
Coming to the Division 2.
Let's go.
And